Happy Virgo new moon, everybody. Welcome back, Star Children. And you're listening to Star Quality. I'm your host, Stevie. And I'm going to keep this somewhat brief. It's Labor Day. And shouldn't, if we don't have to labor, let us not labor too hard. But I had to get on and talk about this new moon because it's a big deal. It's our last new moon before we have the eclipses. So it's really our last opportunity. Our last, okay, maybe it's not our last. It's our last new moon opportunity where we have all the gusto, all the planets that are saying, give your wishes, dreams, manifestations a shot. Because once we get into eclipse season, it gets just like a really rocky and unpredictable. So I wanted to hop on and guide us through this new moon chart and how we can best work with these energies, especially because it is time to work with them. There's no fucking around. There's no maybe next month or later. And we can discuss why that is too, because there is in the witch world, the idea of working with eclipses is frowned upon. So like this is a very last call for alcohol new moon. So I want everyone to take advantage of that if there's something they want to take advantage of, just because we had a lot of big shifts yesterday, planetarily speaking. Before I get into that, if you're listening to this, hello, thank you for joining. Maybe you've been here for a while, maybe you're new. I'm your astrologer host, and Star Quality is a newsletter and podcast recapping the planetary energy, also giving different forecasts, deep dives, reflections, analyses, you name it. Just a space to really nerd out on astro and also make it really applicable and digestible. So if you're an old pro, welcome. If you are a newbie, that is all good too. Maybe it's the Virgo season of me right now being like, welcome back to school, welcome to class, back to school season, freshly sharpened pencils, new notebooks. Oh my God, that's like a sign for me to like get back to my bullet journaling. I learn by doing this as well. I learn through speaking with you and um, while it is just me, this is a conversation. So if there's anything you want to share with the class, please put it in the comments. Maybe something you noticed about this chart that would help others, or maybe something that I said that like brought up an idea in you. Astrology really is a social science, I think, at the end of the day. So we are going to learn a lot from each other and our shared experiences, how these planets are affecting our charts, are going to give information to other people and their charts. And same thing with like Mercury retrograde. Some people have a really rough one. Some people don't. It really depends on what's hitting your chart and also where you're at in your life, right? Like where we are at 35 might be different from where we were at 25. And same with this new moon, where we were in our last new moon, which was August 4th, which was like 6,000 years ago, might be a bit different than this new moon happening today on Monday, September 2nd, 2024. So the first chunk of this episode will be free for all subscribers. Please subscribe. And then the second half is going to be behind a paywall. So if you would like to join the third space, which is the name for my community members, if you want to sign up, you're going to get bonus content. You're going to get all the paywall stuff. You're also going to get the weekly horoscope in full. I give Monday and Tuesdays for each weekly for free, and then the rest is paywalled. And yeah, for $7.77 a month, which is basically like buying me one oat milk ice latte a month. Thank you. You can support my work and then support me. Supporting my work gets you readings, information. Yeah, and like I try to just simplify what's going on planetarily. You know, in astrology, there's tons of astrology accounts you can choose from. I hope you're supporting other astrologers too. But also with that, there's just like a lot of sometimes like repetition or the sort of same messages, or like, I don't know, sometimes fear mongering stuff too. And I'm not saying bad things can't happen. Bad things happen in life all the time. That's just the duality of life. But my perspective of astrology is that the planets are rooting for us. They even the bad ones, even the malefics, even the Mars and Saturn and Pluto of it all, because like they're planets. Like they are like gods of the sky. They are these celestial bodies. And I view a chart configuration, whether it's in a natal chart or in the chart of the moment, as all the planetary potential. Now, are there going to be moments that are difficult in a natal chart or a planetary mundane chart? Sure. But that difficulty is just like the information or the cheat code on how we can best work with the energy. Like for example, last month being Mercury retrograde, we know as astrologers and astrology fans, enthusiasts, supporters, what have you, is yeah, it's not a great time for new initiatives. It's not a great time to maybe it's a time to be more extra mindful with our words. Should we always be mindful with our words? Of course. But do we know that it's raining extra hard in the confusion department with Mercury retrograde? Absolutely. And that's really what we're working with, is that the astro weather is constantly changing, and that when we know it and we work with it, we can kind of hack the system and have it positively influence our lives. So since next month with the eclipses is a little bit more of surrender, and the eclipses, things kind of happen. Happen a little bit more to us versus us working with it, like this new moon. So while we have the opportunity to work with the new moon this time, because the next new moon we have won't be till November, that's more workable. So October is a little bit of a release. Before we get into full-blown eclipse season. And yeah, so I'm going to get the chart of the moment, but yes, first chunk is free 99, but once you hit the paywall, if you want to keep going, there is a 7-day free trial as well. It's all in the show notes and link in bio. And 2, there is video for this episode if you're listening on an audio platform. I'm going to share the charts, but you can listen via audio as well, because I'll over explain things as a Gemini Mercury natally person will. Okay, let me get the chart of the memento. Okay, let's take a look at this new moon chart. So we have the new moon happening on September 2nd, 2024 at 6:55 p.m. The chart I am using is set where I am based. So that's in Los Angeles, California. So that's going to change the rising depending on where you're at, but that's not going to change the planetary information. All this is happening at the same time, just different locations. So don't pay too much attention to the rise. I mean, I'm going to, because I live here and it kind of gives me some interesting info as well. But we're going to, where it is in the chart, it's going to change depending on where you're located. So don't stress too much on that. But let's look at what's happening here. So we know that a new moon chart is when the sun and moon are in the same spot. And so because of that, like they're always going to be in the same spot, right? It's always, if a new moon was happening at, I don't know, 28 degrees of Virgo, it would be a 28-degree sun and a 28-degree moon. And again, this is not like maybe anything, but it just feels like worth noting to me. But this new moon happening at 11 degrees and having these two 11-11s, which is just so, 11-11, make a wish, like are very, maybe the most popular angel number that exists. I just thought that was worth noting in case you're also like an angel number freak. Now, again, it's always going to be that. So it's not like, whoa, they're both at 11. It's like, of course they are, because the sun and moon meeting up in the same spot. But that just popped out to me. I think especially since this is kind of our last go at using the new moon to manifest until November 1st. And also this new moon and then the next new moon that I would say is workable for manifesting in November. Those are going to be our only 2 new moons where we have Pluto back in Capricorn. Okay, big deal. This happened yesterday. Pluto had been in Aquarius doing a test run for his 20-year stay that is upon us. But for now, we are going to have Pluto in Capricorn for one last run at this 29 critical cardinal angle. I'm sure that means nothing symbolically. JK. So I think that also feels extra potent in this new moon chart story, is these next few months, we are really finishing up a lot of this Pluto and Capricorn business. It's finishing. Like we are wrapping some things up. There are some chapters that are for sure closing. Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. It's very interesting. This is lining up with the election and, 2008 was a pretty big election, so we'll see what themes repeat and which don't. But just have to note that is just major shift. This is like decades defining shift. So maybe this new moon too is a time to think of what is ending. Now, new moons are usually related to beginnings, but I think sometimes I don't know, this new moon's really calling for the endings to be really clear. Especially we'll get into this conversation of Venus with the South Node. Shit's ending. And what the endings are, I don't know. And also, ending doesn't mean things are over 100% all the time. So I'm not trying to like muddle the info. It's more like maybe in your work, maybe for some of you it's leaving that job and quitting and going on to something new, but or maybe it's like putting an end to old patterns. Maybe it's putting an end to the way you've worked before. Maybe it's staying in the same place but establishing what you will and won't accept anymore, and also knowing that possibly having to end some of that and close some chapters might be wrapped up in that story as well if you're not getting what you want, because that's what we're here in life to hopefully do our best and get the things we desire and live the lives that we design for ourselves. And the phrase that kind of kept coming up this last week, and then it really felt connected to this new moon as well, is this phrase, write that down. I heard that phrase so many times this past week when I was hanging out with a bunch of other astrologers. And I was watching the movie Amadeus last night, which was all about writing things down. And I say write that down as the theme of this new moon because Virgo is a mercurial sign. It's naturally ruled over by Mercury, and we're having that connection of the moon and the sun in a mercurial sign. And I think writing down what we're looking for, whether that is in our life, our love, our work, our creative practices, what we want for the world, I think that there's just going to be a lot of power in writing and remembering and making spells, right? Making intentions, like not just letting these like beautiful ideas just run away. I think that maybe if you've been feeling stuck in your own process or whatever it is, maybe it's bouncing off of someone that you trust, that they can see you as well. Virgo can be really sharp and particular, and sometimes they might need to hear from others what gifts they have, what natural talents they have, the things that they're bringing to the table. So I think if you've been feeling a bit lost or misguided, this is like a great time. Even this week, we're still going to be feeling this new moon energy this week before the eclipse is in a couple weeks. So this could be a really great time to reach out to your friends, maybe reach out to a trusted like mentor or someone that really understands what you're trying to do and is going to help you see yourself more clearly. If you don't have someone that's like that, maybe, well, it could be going to an astrologer, not a plug, but kind of a plug. But that does help for a lot of people if they maybe don't have that person or people that can do that for them at this time, and that comes and goes. Therapy is also great for this. Also, like, yeah, any kind of like coach, mentor, like there is like some sort of advising and editing and direction that feels really needed. It's like it feels very no more bullshit. I have shit to do. I like keep getting lost in the games and the distraction and the noises, and actually like getting really clear with your goals, which is, I mean, also like, hello, Pluto's in Capricorn. Like, if we're not doing that in this time, we're kind of fools. This is so supported in terms of really getting clear and also maybe narrowing down. Like, I think this new moon manifestation, maybe like simplify it too. Like, let's get into the core goals. Again, you can wish and call in whatever you'd like. Maybe there's a lot of stuff you do, but I think having it be maybe more particular for the rest of the year for this time frame is going to have a little more punch. Um, I'll get into, I'll get into the Venus stuff because, hello, we are releasing some of the shit that is not good for us. We are saying the South Node is upside down because it's literally dumping out the things that aren't of service to Venus right now. Oh my God, my voice is going, still coming off that sickness, but so I should be singing some jazz tonight. This is really, could it be louder in terms of if we're just not getting the results we want, if we're not feeling in that Libra balance, beauty, harmony, the good stuff. Libra Venus is the good stuff. You should read my post about Libra Venus, especially because I really touch on the South Node themes because it's just so loud. And the last time we had Libra Venus conjunct the South Node was November of 2023. So I don't know if there might be signs or things that were happening then that might point you to maybe what we're getting follow-ups with now. And then also too loud to not note that Pluto is saying, yeah, bitch, dump it out. Dump them out. Dump them out. That's what it sounds like I'm saying, like to go into like a wet t-shirt contest, which you can if you'd like. But this just feels like a bit clearing, especially with Libra, in terms of like people or groups, or I don't know. It can even be like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like your lover or friends. It can be, but this also feels really like social circles and structures, like the whole crew, right? Like the vibe, like, and it doesn't have to be so like climby and manipulative and like, you don't make my list or you don't this, but I think we just know when we're in a place that feels like home around people or or the things we're trying to do. And also, I think also being aligned in the things that you value and care about. It's taking me a long road of journeying to realize like I truly, maybe it's my Aries moon, maybe it's the Taurus sun conjunct Venus in the 11th house of the future and goals. Like I need to be around ambitious people. If you're not ambitious, like it's hard for me to connect deeper. I like settling, or that I feeling of settling, or like this is just fine. I don't know. There's like some striving for more that like just lives in me. And when it lives in other people, I feel really deeply connected to them. And I think maybe because this is all really cardinal, Libra is a cardinal sign, a starter. Capricorn is also a starter, and compared to our Aquarius fixed, which is more like finishing and maintaining. And so there's some newness, which requires some closing up shopness that comes with this fuel from Pluto to Venus in the South Node, in really like what's the company we keep, and also is the company we keep recognizing our power. Back to the Pluto stuff. Like when I was hanging out with this group of people the other night and I was like just talking and be myself, and then hearing like, oh my God, that was such a good idea. You should write that down. You should have this. That was your idea that you should keep. And I was like, wow, like there's a lot of people who might hear your mojo, right? And like feel your energy and take, how like I feel like we all have had that experience where you hang out with people and maybe you're not friends anymore, or things change and they've like adopted your personality or taken slivers of you, and you like maybe look at their Instagram page, you're like, they listen to that music because of me. They're wearing that because of me. Those are my little pieces of myself that I just gave away. And it was like, and, and this is a new group of people, and new energy is also like really contagious, at least for me as an Aries moon. But just hearing like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hold up this mirror. The things you're saying are so you, and recognizing what things are just very of yourself and that other people are appreciating that and not trying to be you. That's the Libra South Node. They're not trying to be you. Because when we're South Noding Libra, we're leaning to Aries North Node. You are yourself. No one else can be you. So if anyone around you has been just like swagger jacking, not really bringing in any original ideas or original anything, or support or just recognition of yourself. I think that this is really, it's quite loud in that they can't, they're going to try to be you, but they're never going to be you. So I think, yeah, having, this could be like really great with friends too, of like going around of like what you adore about each other. I just did this for a friend's birthday yesterday. Like, what do you see that inspires you? And I think there's a difference between being inspired and wanting like to take that tenet into your life versus just copying or just yeah, just totally ripping off someone. So yeah, this feels like we're getting rid of the dupes, the clones, the tethers, if you will. So if anyone's just been feeling like a clingy, tethery, they just trying to be me, I think this new moon. I'm talking a lot like it's a full moon, but maybe it's just because of like the Pluto Capricorn just feels so finishing. So I think that that's something to consider. Of course, we're going to call in our individuality a lot in this new moon cycle.